All right, so I'm sharing my screen now. Welcome to this class for those of us that are just joining. And please try and reach out to some of your colleagues that should be on this class. All right, but however, the record will be shared today on YouTube and on the platform as well. All right, let me know if you can see my screen.
Perfectly.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen, sir.
Yeah,
We can see it. Yes, we can see the screen.
All right, that's good. All right, so today we'll be talking on product ideation techniques. All right, so the table of content is product ideation techniques. We'll look at the techniques, what it means, and what pretty much ideation means in product management. I know some of you already have an idea based on when we talked about product management as a life cycle. And I know I talked about it starts from ideation to design to development and then delivery, and of course then the growth of the market, of the product in the market. All right, so I will be touching on several techniques that we use to ideate. So ideation pretty much means coming up with ideas for your ideas of solutions to your problems that you're trying to solve. All right, or the problems that your customers or the needs of your customers uh, or the needs of the market that you've been able to um, elicit from your what's it called now, from your research. So I believe some of you did research, some of you have done your user research from the assignment I gave, and you've been able to get some questions on concerns that your user are currently experiencing based on the questions that you asked them. All right, so after getting those problems, there then needs for you to come up with the best approach or solution that would help solve that problem, or ideas or workflows, optimizations and things like that that you can use technology, that you can leverage tech to solve such problems. All right, so one of the ideation technique here is brainstorming. We have mind mapping. We have SCAMPER method. We have customer journey mapping. We already touched upon that earlier. We have design thinking workshop. We have prototyping. We have crowdsourcing, and there are several more, almost close to 20 more or something. I'm going to show you the other ones, but the ones that we have in the table of contents are the one that we're going to discuss on today. All right. Now we're going to look at how to implement product ideation techniques. We're also going to look at measuring the success of your product ideation, and then how experimentation can supercharge your ideation process. Because when you come up with these ideas, you would want to experiment on those ideas to see the ones that is the one that is viable, the one that is visible, the one that will actually solve that problem, in a sense. All right. So yeah, so product ideation techniques. Innovation is shaping our work life, and now imagine you are in a role where you're expected to pull up brilliant ideas out of a thin air every single day, and this is what product ideation is about. But you understand that nobody just wants a new product or a future just like that. You then have to come into a place where we then implement this product ideation techniques, and these are critical tools for developing successful products and futures. Everything starts with ideas. Everything starts with coming up with solid ideas that would um, that will reshape the industry you're trying to you're trying to solve a problem for, or supercharge, or revolutionize the industry, or the experiences the customers are having, that are that they have in that industry. So like a chef in the kitchen of innovation, a product addition technique blends user feedback. Please, I want you to get this. It blends user feedback, customer pain points, market opportunities, and business strategy. You ideate by combining your conscious and subconscious mind. You combine your rational thoughts with your imagination. So there's a lot of imagination coming in. There's a conscious effort. There's your subconscious mind coming to play when you're generating ideas. All right. And then there's a word that says ideas rules the world. All right. So you have to be able to know the right techniques, or the kind of techniques that would help you generate the best possible ideas. And again, understand that generating ideas is not a one person thing again. It's a collective effort. You need, the more people you have on board, the more, the better the quality of ideas you're able to generate, and also the quality of the people that you have on your team determine the kind of ideas you're able to generate. All right, the kind of solid ideas you will generate, their depth of their knowledge, their qualification, and their experiences, and things they've done, people they've interacted with, their network, and things like that. Position they've held, things, project they've handled. These are things that 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 you dwell, though you draw your well of ideation from. All right. So we'll be looking at the first the first um, ideation techniques, which is brainstorming. I know everyone knows. A lot of people have. I don't know if anyone here has never heard the word brainstorming. And I know most of us have studied a lot. I'm trying to brainstorm ideas. Let's go and brainstorm ideas. So brainstorming is a popular ways of coming up with ideas. So it combines unofficial problem solving with literal thinking. All right. So basically, the goal is to provide in a more organizational structure, right? When you're running a brainstorming session, all right. The goal is to provide a safe space with no rules for team members to come up with crazy ideas. So for brainstorming, right, you can come up with the most ridiculous idea. Everyone is allowed to bring up an idea, and no idea is foolish, no idea is stupid in a brainstorming session. Because sometimes the ones you think is stupid, or the person that you think might not even might even be the one that will give you a groundbreaking idea that would put your product on the edge in the market. All right. So all right, there's no rules. Everyone is allowed to come up with as crazy, no matter, in fact, go wild when it comes to brainstorming. All right. Some of these ideas are transformed into unique and innovative solutions, while others catalyze new ideas. So some of them might be in a way unique, or novel, or some of them might then be an idea that would in a sense build on other ideas, all right, or existing idea, or things like that. All right. So how do you brainstorm? You start by outlining the problem you are trying to address and determine the goal of the potential solution. So what problem are we trying to solve? What problem are we trying to address? And what is the goal of a potential solution? All right. So a potential solution should be able to do this, get the user to do this, get the user to do that. So the brainstorming session will then be, what kind of approach, what approach, what tool, what this thing can be, what workflow, what um better experience can we provide that will help us achieve this goal. All right. So then, before bringing the team together, come up with a solution on your own. So everyone comes with a solution on their own. All right. um, and participants should not be required should not be required, reprimanded, rewarded for their contribution. So that's the beauty about brainstorming. There's nobody saying that your idea is the best. Your idea is the best thing. So far it help us achieve our goal. It is something that can be taken into account, right? So this keep brainstorming space supportive, encouraging a flow of every idea without stifling others. All right. So people are not feeling that they are more, because of behind the team. Everyone is not depending on the idea. No, everyone is allowed to bring up any ideas so far they understand the goal of a potential solution they are trying to bring to address that problem. All right, so that's pretty much how brainstorming works. I bet we already have a picture of how that plays out. All right, so let's look at the next ideation technique. We have what we call mind mapping. All right, so mind mapping is a great exercise that will help you organize your thoughts in a coherent way. So it starts with a centralized theme. So therefore, this one start with a centralized theme and watch your idea branch out like a tree. This method, aka, is called another word for it is brainwriting. Helps in seeing relationship between different concepts and can spark new connections. For example, now maybe you already have a certain ideas, but you're now looking to see how it connects to other areas of your user experience or a certain niche of a market or things like that. So you want to see how a solution can connect into addressing other niche market needs and things like that. So you can use the mind mapping to come up with ideas that connect, each several ideas together, or that helps you to branch out your idea or come up with more, how will I call it, an idea that connects across several areas in a sense. Right, so you get started with the simplest form of mind mapping, which is participant write a problem statement. That's the first thing you do. Write a problem statement or key phrase in the middle of the page. All right, or you can use a board if you like. All right, a very large board. So you write the problem statement on that board, whiteboard. Your team members are in that room. Then they write solutions or ideas that come to their mind on the very same page. So like I said, either a page or a board, and everyone begins to put down their ideas on that page, on that board. After that, participants connect their solution ideas by curves or lines to its minor or major previous or following facts or ideas. So there's a way you can read mind mapping. You can then see how a particular idea connects with another one. So the beauty about mind mapping is it helps you see an idea that connects to another idea. So you can then be connecting the idea of, oh, I think with this can address this. Oh, from using this, we can also use to address that. We can also use to solve this and this and this and like that. So yeah, so that's pretty much fair about that. So that's pretty much how mind map. I'm going to show you an example of how that looks like. All right, so this is an example of how mind mapping work, right? So you have the problem statement in the center, right? And you're not looking at all areas that you're looking to solve problem for. For example, now this is start a new story. All right, the idea: pick a location, describe the vibe, find the theme, choose a genre, meet the protagonist. All right, so you're looking at this is based on the context, right? This is based on the context of someone trying to come up with an idea for a story. All right, a story. All right, so one of the things you're looking at, you're considering the location for that. No, not a story, a movie. Let's say a movie. You're considering the location. What kind of vibe does it have? Is it horrific, suspense? So you're coming up with ideas that fall into horrific suspense. You now look at theme again. Getting back when life knocks you down. Is that a theme you want to have? The agony of war. Then if you come up with ideas with that, you then link that to, okay, what kind of suspense can we have for can we put in a situation where someone is faced with the agony of war? All right. So you're looking at choosing the genre. Do you want to have a level of, so in that theme, do you want it to be a psychological thriller? Do you want it to be fantasy? Do you want it to be detective? Do you want it to be contemporary romance? Or you want it to be sci-fi and things like that? What century are you looking at? And things like that. So that's how mind mapping works. And this one, you're talking about meet the protagonist. Is he a man? Is he a killer? Is he a woman? I have no idea about the future. Is the person lonely? And things like that. So that's pretty much how my mind mapping works. All right. All right. So everyone then begins to put down the idea based on each connections to what they are trying to achieve. All right. So we have what we call next. We have the SCAMPER method. All right. The SCAMPER method stands for substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put another use, eliminate, reverse, or rearrange. All right. Scamper gives your team members and their product idea a creative angle by asking specific questions. All right. For example, what would happen if you eliminate a feature from your product or combine it with another? So now you now be asked a question based on this framework. So you ask yourself, it can be what will happen if we substitute this feature with this feature? You answer the question. What would happen if you combine this feature? So Scamper is a method that can happen after you run a level of one, maybe you've done a brainstorming, all right? Then you now want to add the Scamper method to see how each idea connects. So you might also want to say, okay, now that you have a list of ideas, you want to see how can we, which idea can we substitute for another, which idea can we combine, which one can we adapt, which one can we modify, which one can we put to another use, or another use case, or maybe it doesn't fit, no longer fit into the scope. You may want to use it for another use case or another thing entirely. Which one are we taking out of eliminate? Which one are we reversing or rearranging? So maybe based on the workflow, you realize that, oh, I think this particular feature should come before this. So you want to rearrange or reverse the idea. Now this might then come in terms of how the workflow and the features that you want to put in that product. All right. So this is just a picture that shows you that breakdown the Scamper method, right? Substitute, you replace a part of material process with something else. Combine, you join elements, ideas, functions together in a new way and find a new element you can merge with. Adapt is to modify something that better suits a new purpose or person. So you might want to modify, adapt to modify it in a way that it suits a new purpose or a new person or a new context entirely. All right. Modify is enlarge, reduce, change, reshape, alter the attributes, and can be small changes or that have a big effect. And modify can even be something that is related to maybe on a UI basis, all right, or a UX standpoint. All right, maybe you figure that if you use this kind of, for example, now let's say a wizard approach, you feel like okay, when you are trying to move from one next page to a next steps, so you want to use a different user approach for each of the steps for a particular, for something that the user is trying to carry out. So maybe you want to, and all of that. So then put to another use rather than changing the thing itself. Consider changing the context it exists in. All right. Another one is then eliminate, which is remove elements, simplify, or pare down to essential. All right. Is less more. So maybe you want to streamline it in a way whereby you are taking out something just to simplify it to the barest minimum, such that it seems so easy for the user to carry out their outcome. All right. So eliminate is something you want to look at. Oh, I think we should take this out. Let's take this out. Let's take this out. I think this is too ambiguous. You could also look it from the code standpoint too, like you get. All right. Let's use this. This, if we take it out, to help with the load time and all of that and things like that. All right. So and there's a reverse where you flip the script or reorder your priorities. Invert cause and effect and turn it in all upside down, maybe to make sense if you turn it upside down and things like that. So that's the SCAMPER method. All right. Next we have here is the customer journey mapping. All right. So looking at the world of the customer, all right, you uncover hidden pain points. Through customer journey mapping, you can create a visual representation of your customer's experience with your products and service. It will allow you to identify customer pain points. That's the beauty of this customer journey mapping, and improve user experience. I know someone was asking me at every stage of it. Actually, I know someone was asking me at our previous class, the one we held on Monday, about that I didn't touch much on the customer journey mapping. So I'm going to explain it here so that we can see how that works. So customer journey mapping is necessary to help you understand the brand experience of your customer. All right, literally how they come about to knowing your brand, or getting accustomed to your brand, or getting to use your products, from the point where they are motivated to the point where they go out to purchase. You are mapping that journey. What are the things that influences them to buy, things like that. So you map that journey based on each demographic and the kind of personas that you designed. Do you understand? So for example, now you might want to say a persona is between a particular age group, and he has within this money, and he lives in this particular area. What are the things that or he passes this route? So what are the things that influences him? What time does this person live, work? What kind of nature of work they do? So you're looking at all of those things to guide how your user would journey to the point of experiencing your brand, or experiencing your product, or engaging with your product in a certain way. Do you understand? So create and use journey map provides several significant benefits for your brand. First and foremost, customer journey mapping provides a deeper understanding of your customer. So that's the beauty about customer journey mapping, right? And secondly, you use customer journey mapping to gain deep knowledge of and empathy for your customer base. So now, because you're understanding the influences, what is motivating them, what makes them do this, you develop an empathy. So you're able to look for the most streamlined way, the most efficient way to solve their problems with using customer journey mapping. All right. So this is an example of how that works out, right? All right. Each stage is right. We have the awareness stage, we have the consideration, we have decision, we have service, we have reality. So there's a stage where your customer is aware of your product. There's a stage where they are considering your product. There's a stage where they are deciding to whether buy, use, or engage your product. There's a place whether they've now tried your product, and there's then a place whether they are satisfied, or they will then come back where they are loyal. Are you getting me? To your product. So you're looking at several things: customer actions, touch points, customer experience, KPIs, goals of the business, theme involved. So all of these things that you highlight will help you then start putting the right things to define how the customer would journey to the point where they become loyal to your brand or to your product. I hope that's making sense. So for the customer action, we're thinking about viewing your customer actions, awareness. How are they coming out? How are they getting aware with your product? We're looking like whether they'll view online ads, social media campaign, hear about it from your friends. So now you're not thinking that what are the things that will put in place for what are the kind of content, what are things that will put to make them be aware. All right. How would they consider why would they consider your product? All right. So then by that time you already probably run your competitive analysis. You know the things that your other competitors do not have. You know the kind of pricing they have, how you can have the best price point that will make them consider your product. you've run your, like I said, competitive analysis. You've done your pricing. You've analyzed, you do your pricing. You conduct research that helps you find out the the unique, have come up with a unique value proposition for your product. So these are the things that help them consider. The value pyramid could cut across several things, could cut across the experience, unique features that are really solving pain points or really helping them achieve the outcome that other people do not have, or maybe you have doing it in a separate, different form that just will just make them want to consider your product or your service. Then decision, how are they making purchase? How are they buying it? In what manner? Are they doing by subscription? Are they doing by commission? Are they doing recurring? Are they doing, what manner of way are they getting to buy or pay for that product? They are looking at the services. How are they receiving it? Is it, when I say receiving it, how are they using the product? Is it a SaaS? Is it a marketplace? Is it a aggregator model whereby there's a particular, the real product is not the app. The app is just a means to an end. For example, like Airbnb, the real product, the app seems to be the product, but the real product is actually the services you are providing through the app, such that the quality of the housing, please, let's mute ourselves. The quality of the houses that you have in your Airbnb or in that, for that Airbnb. All right. So these are the things that determines the services, the experience that the customer has. Then we now talk about loyalty. What do you then put in place for them to come back? So what are you putting in place for them to come back? Are you doing a discount? Are you doing is your experience just so good that they will come back, and things like that? So those are things you're looking at. So you're looking at touch points, such as traditional media. What are the touch points in terms of where they get aware? In consideration, word of mouth, social media, decision, website. Where are they making decision? Is it on a web app? Is it on a mobile app? Is it things like that? So those are things you're looking to determine the where decision is being made for each touch point. Services, maybe your service could also be in terms of your customer support as well. Are you running your customer support via phone, via email, via chatbot, and things like that? And loyalty, how are you making people to see that people are showing that they are loyal to you? Is it word of mouth? Is it social media? Is it review sites and things like that? Customer experiencing, how are you evaluating that as well? Is there interested? Are they interested or hesitant? Consideration, are you creating curiosity, excitement to make them want to use your product? And that's also being how you are drafting your messaging as well, or how you are crafting your messaging for your product. Because as a product person, you will interface with every team, every cross functionality, the marketing, the sales, to help you know how to decide how best to craft the messaging that would, for your product. So at each phase, right, I tell people, right, for product management, most of the time, it's not just the building development of your product that determines the success. There are several things that also determine, because you can have a good product, but if you don't have a good marketing, the product can still fail. All right. So it's you that is, because it's in your understanding of your product, of your pain points when you're doing your user research. That's what the marketing team uses in crafting a message that is compelling, that touches the areas and the needs of the customer, that helps them even now consider your product. Do you understand? So you are interfacing with every part of the team for the success of the product. So in a sense, you are not just thinking about development, and that's what most people make the mistake when it comes to product management. The real product management phase is not only in development. Development is part of product management, but it's not solely what we do. Your main goal as a product management is the success of the product in the market. So if it talks about the user experience, UX design, marketing, sales, customer support, customer experience, security, so it means that at some point you might have to be interfacing with your cyber security team, interfacing with your data analyst, the kind of the quality of the data that is being collected, or how the licensing, where you're also working with your legal team, compliance, working with your legal team to ensure there's compliance and all of that. You are looking at the product from every aspect. Do you guys get me? Every aspect. All right. So then you're looking at the KPIs, the business goals, and the theme involved. So you guys can look at this map when I share the materials to just have a deep down into all of these areas when you're coming up with a customer journey mapping. All right. I would all right. I will try to think of which the best assignment you guys should do. Maybe it might be a group assignment, so that it will be more productive. All right. But I'll speak with your with your class rep on how we go about that, because I really want you guys to get your hands into all of these things, practicalize them. Okay, so next one we have is the design thinking workshops. All right, so think of this as a product design party where you gather your cross-functional team from engineering to marketing. The goal is to understand users, their needs so well that you could finish their sentence. We're not in a creepy way, but yes, and generate fresh ideas. All right, so these workshops typically involve 5 stages. All right, first one is empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test. So that's the 5 circle. It's an unending loop. So it keeps going like that. That's how design thinking works. All right, you empathize, you define, you ideate, you prototype, you go again, empathize, define, and like that. That's how the circle works. The goal is to develop innovative ideas that are user-centric. That's the beauty about design thinking. In fact, there is a design thinking courses solely on design thinking, that takes you through the practical approach. And if you have a design thinking mindset, it will help you come up with brilliant solutions that are very customer centric or user centric. All right. So we have empathize. This stage focuses on understanding the user needs, behavioral challenges by observing and interviewing and engaging with them. So you see yourself doing some interviews as well. See yourself having focus group. Like I said, in product management, at every phase you are doing research. So even while doing your design thinking, you are still interviewing, you are still observing, you are still engaging your customers. At every stage, you are always closer to your customers, your users as a product manager. All right, getting feedback. Can that person mute, please? Okay. All right. So then we have the design, define. So based on empathy research, designers clearly articulate the problem they aim to solve, create problem statements. All right. So now this design thinking it's mostly in the design phase, right? All right, where you're trying to design the experience that, or the design the solution in a sense. So define you based on empathy research, the designer clearly articulate the problem they aim to solve, creating a problem statement. So you've already done your research, then you collect all of the problems that your user experiencing. Then you go to the ideate. This stage involves brainstorming, generally generating a wide range of potential solutions to define the problem. Prototype, designer create tangible representation of the ideas following experimentation and testing. Then test, prototypes are tested with live users to gather feedback, identify areas for improvement, and refine the solution. So in a sense, design thinking cut across captures all of that area of ideation and prototyping and testing. All right, so it's just like the standard approach that people use to quickly do their research, understand what the problem is, get generated. So when you're doing these ideas in design thinking, you most likely be brainstorming, like it's written here. You most likely either be brainstorming or be doing mind mapping, but you're sure ideating. There's a prototyping where you are designing like a visual representation of the idea, and then the prototype is a very minimum way version that you can test with your users to get feedback and also know how to improve and refine the solution. All right, so this is how the loop looks like. It's a continuous loop, like keep doing and keep going like that in product management. All right, so next one here we have is prototyping. Prototyping is how you find out if an idea is worth investing time and money into. It's a very crucial part of product development, prototyping. There's this company called ClassPass. They tested 8 prototypes before their website redesign. All right. So it means that they created several prototypes to just see to find out which one is the best one to build, to start building code into. All right. And I know most of you should hear. That's why it's important for some of you here to learn how to jump on, use tools like, I think I should really give you an assignment of that as well. Use tools like Figma, all right, tools like Figma and some other tools. There are several prototyping tools out there actually. Let me just note this down so that I can come up with an assignment for you guys in that regard. All right, please, guys, stay muted, please. I don't want distraction. Okay. So, all right. So prototype. With prototyping, you can get first version of your ideas ready, gather feedback, and save your team from building the Titanic of products. Before whether it will sink or not. So products can be simple whiteboard paper. It could be a simple whiteboard prototype. It can be a paper sketch. Just sketch all of the flows in the paper and run them by your users so that they see how they interact or interact with digital model. All right. The goal is to make your ideas tangible, testable by as early as possible in the development process. All right. So prototyping method, we have paper to paper prototyping, which is writing or drawing an idea on a paper. We have digital mockup, like paper prototype or digital. So I think we have Balsamiq. I know about Balsamiq. I know about I know about Whimsical. I've used Whimsical. I've used Balsamiq before. So these are prototyping, wireframing tools. You could call it wireframing as well. Wireframing tools or prototyping tools to just give you a very low fidelity prototype of your product that your users can look at, your team can also evaluate and know whether to run with or not. We have interactive prototype, we have functional prototype, which I think you can do with Figma as well. And we then have the MVP. This is a bare bone version of your product you can release into the wild. All right. So next one we have here, we have the analogical thinking. This is also a prototyping approach. So so in this sense, in this one, right, there's no need to reinvent the wheel when you can when you can still borrow ideas from another industry. All right, so look for inspiration in unexpected places. Look at nature, art, or that white gadget your friend got you for your birthday. So you can get inspired by anything pretty much. Inspiration is everywhere you look and everywhere you look when you look hard enough. All right. So this technique encourages creative cross-disciplinary thinking. All right. Right. So storytellers, journalists, athletes, leaders, all kind of other creative professionals have relied on creating analogies as powerful tools for communicating and sparking ideas. Analogy, it's pretty much straightforward. You create an analogy is comparison between two things. For instance, comparing of a heart and a pump. So you create an analogy of a heart, comparing a heart to a pump. All right. So you see how the heart works. All right, you now use pump to explain it. Give an analogy using pump. All right. So we communicate using analogies all the time as it allows us to express our ideas, to explain complex matter in an understandable or motivational way. So when you look at an idea, you might also use analogical thinking to break it down for your team with relatable things that explains or gives an analogy or explains that concept, that idea you're having. Because one thing is to have an idea, another thing is to be able to conceptually. Other people can also conceptualize it, all right? Or other people can be able to understand it. So you can use analogical thinking to help break down or simplify or look for relatable instances for that idea or concept that you generated. So this is where analogical thinking comes from in your ideation process. All right. So next one we have is provocation. All right, so provocation is a lateral thinking technique which challenges the status quo, allows you to explore new realities to extreme degrees. I repeat, extreme degrees. Lateral thinking distances itself from classic method of problem solving where we work out solutions step by step from the given idea, from a given data. All right, so creativity is all about journeying through stimuli with possible abstract and unseen destinations in your mind. The route of the journey is unknown, you get, and this is even important where you don't even know what the solution, you don't know what it is you are trying to solve, but you just keep coming up with ideas, unknown things, coming up with things to just get to a point where you know that you've hit a nail at the head. So most often requires you to explore multiple paths in order to arrive in your known destination. Provocation provide these mechanisms for injecting the unconventional into thinking patterns and exploration. So with provocation, right, you really just want to think, explore, the unusual or the most unconventional approach to something, all right, and just look at that and test it and see how that works, all right, which is why it's called provocation, all right. It's not the classic or the usual common method that everyone is accustomed with, and sometimes those ideas that come from provocation method is that actually are most time groundbreaking because most people didn't just people were not even looking at things in that direction or we didn't expect that it could actually solve the problem they are looking to solve. All right. Next here we have crowdsourcing. All right. Yeah, say people love feeling heard, which is very important. Everybody loves feeling heard. So you tap into the collective brain power of your customers. So with crowdsourcing, you can then welcome your customers or stakeholders into the session. All right, which is why it's called crowdsourcing. It's like having a massive think tank at your fingertips. Example could include running idea contest, setting up feedback forum, using social media to gather input. All right, so these are approaches to crowdsource ideas or what to do next or a kind of enhancement or whatever you want to do. So customer user feedback is important at every stage of process, involving them to pick and evaluate ideas that can lead to identifying possible winners or losers, which the team might have missed due to blind spot. So crowdsourcing could also be something you would do after you've done your brainstorming session or mind mapping or whatever your team, but you then throw it outside for people to also chime in as well. So which is why it's crowdsourcing. So you already know what the problem you're trying to solve is. Then you put it out there to gather ideas from more people, set up a forum for feedback, or use your social media to just get this thing that you do. Most content creators do, whereby they have these dialogue or questions that they put on their status just to get their customers to chime in or say something that they would then know okay, or put out a poll or something. So those are ways of crowdsourcing on a particular idea that you're looking to consider. All right. So social media, customer survey, focus group, code design workshop, all this method of getting crowds to share their thoughts on a generated idea. All right, so this is very, very way. It's even a quick way to even validate your idea as well. All right, where you use crowdsourcing after you had your ideas, put it out to your customers, get feedback. What did they think about this thing? Run a poll, run a survey, and things like that, based on the idea that your solution you come up with. Remember, this is different from trying to understand what their problem is. Now you come up with ideas. Research is trying to know what the problem is, know what their workflow, what their frustration. But now you then done that, you come up with ideas. They don't want to then crowdsource on which idea, which one to focus on, and things like that. So you can want to get your feedback from your customers as well, based on the ideas or the solution that you've come up with. All right. So these are the ideation techniques that we mostly use, which is why I selected these ones primarily. All right. There's more at the end of the class. I'll show you other. I'll have a list of other ones that are pretty much used out there, so you guys can go ahead to research and learn more on them on your own. All right. Okay. Can you guys still see my screen? Are you guys hearing me? You guys are hearing me, right? I would like
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, good.
We are seeing.
All right, good. All right. So here we'll be looking at how to implement product ideation techniques. All right. Implementing any product idea technique effectively requires a strategic approach tailored to your individual project needs and team dynamics. Please let's mute that person that is unmuted. Should mute, please. Okay. All right. So yeah. So it requires strategic approach tailored to your individual project needs and team dynamics. All right. So you have to understand what the project needs, what's the dynamics of your team, so you can come up with the best approach or strategy tailored to that. Start by selecting the most appropriate techniques for your situation. It could be any of those things I talked about. For instance, brainstorming for idea for quick. So now look at it now. So you can now select the most appropriate techniques for your situation. For instance now, brainstorming for quick idea generation, mind mapping for complex problems, SCAMPER method for transformative thinking, and this is to maximize results. Combine multiple techniques, like I mentioned earlier. You can combine multiple techniques such as initiating brainstorming session, organizing ideas through mind mapping, turning concept into concrete hypothesis using SCAMPER. All right. So you can combine. Right. You can combine. There's no one way to it. You can combine. Based on what you're trying to achieve. All right. So for any long-term success, you need to create a culture of continuous ideation. So as a product management, you have to have a culture of continuous ideation. In fact, have a research and development team that are currently constantly ideating, constantly coming up with ideas, not just based on feedback from customer. You just keep coming up. So based on all the feedback your customer, you're having a ideation session to come up with ideas on how to solve all of those problems based on the feedback you are getting or the problems you are encountering as you are building, or as you are launching your product, or as customers are beginning to use your product and all of that. It is like turning your workplace into a year-round idea festival. All right. So how to implement product ideation techniques? All right. Here is how to keep things going. To have that culture of ideation in your team. All right. So encourage off-the-wall ideas. Off-the-wall ideas usually means ideas that aren't even what you expect. All right. Schedule regular ideation sessions. So you have to have like a schedule of ideation sessions. So maybe it can be in your Q1, across your roadmap, even during your sprint or something. Have like a day that is scheduled for ideation where you just come up with ideas based on the feedback and all of that you've had with your from your customers, and your research and everything. Reward the process, not the outcome. Sometimes you can get to that trap is for people. This is when you get the outcome, you then be rewarded, not the process. Whenever people come to ideas for your ideation session, set up some lunch, some this thing, how people feel comfortable. Let there be snacks and things like that. Let it be very comfortable for coming to the ideation session because it's a very brain taxing session, to be honest. And you want everyone to be in their best self to be able to come up with solid ideas, that will shape or reshape your product. Designate physical or visual spaces for ideation. So your ideation could also be either virtual or physical. Anyhow you guys want to meet up to do that. Managers ideate with your team and show them how it is done. So if you are someone that you've done this several times, you want to put your team through on how best to come up to guide them in the ideation process. All right. So mix up your team and department. So you want to also mix up your team. You don't just want to have engineering generating ideas separately, marketing generating ideas separately, sales people generating ideas. You want to combine everybody so that it just things are good in that way. All right. Use games, challenges, and team sessions to keep things fresh. All right, which is good, right? You could also add some games and things like that to just make it more relaxing and more fresh for your team. All right. Next, we're looking at measuring the success of your product ideation. So now that you've ideated, you want to measure the success. All right. Track the right metrics. Tracking the right metrics for your ideation process or technique. All right. So idea quantity. Right, you want to first of all, how many ideas are we churning out? More is always better. So which how many of the ideas are we churning out? Is which one are we letting go of? Which one are we letting go of? All right, which one are we keeping? So idea quality. Use scoring system to check if your ideas solve real problems or create more, or just create more problems. All right. So you can even in your idea bank, you don't want to prioritize. We talked about prioritization during our last class. So you want to use a prioritization scoring method, maybe a RICE method, to prioritize which idea solves that is more impactful, or that requires less effort and things like that. Implementation rate. How many ideas actually make it to implementation? If this numbers is lower than expected, it's time to rethink this process. All right, so you want to look at how many number actually make it to implementation. All right, and if the number is lower, you might want to, um, 1 second, guys. All right, so next, time to market. How fast can we go from Eureka to buy now? So we're looking at this idea which one can come from, how fast can we bring these things to the market where people can buy it and use it? So you want to look at that as well. Which idea can we quickly, put out and launch? User feedback. Do they want what we are selling? Metrics. All right, those track those ratings and reviews, plus invest in customer service. All right, so these ideas are ideas that you can quickly validate with your users to know whether they really do want what you guys are trying to put out there. All right, which is where prototyping most likely will look like, or having an MVP or stuff like that. ROI, track the revenue your implemented idea are bringing in. All right, is this thing actually profitable or not? Right, which is the goal of a next startup. Everybody wants to make money, and if idea is not making you money, brother, It's either you pivot or something. All right. Next we're looking at, okay, still on measuring the success of your product, evaluating and prioritizing your idea. All right. I know we already talked about the prioritization technique last class. This is separating the game-changing one from the maybe later ones. Gather diverse perspective and figure out the feasible ones. Is it doable? In-depth analysis, will it make any potential impact or align with your business goals? Thinking process, can you pull it off with the resources you have? So this one just talks about the prioritization, and we've gone in depth on the prioritization technique on our last class. Well, this was meant to come before the prioritization technique anyway, but anyhow, we are doing that now. So yeah, so how experimentation can supercharge your ideation process. So now we may be a bit biased, optimally or represent. We can be biased in a sense, but the numbers don't lie, right? Which is where data comes in. You've helped thousands of customers incorporate a culture of experimentation. A/B testing. Okay, this is as a product manager, basically, right? You most likely would have helped customers incorporate the culture of experimentation. A/B testing, test their product idea process, deliver features without risk. You can significantly improve your product idea using A/B testing. All right. A/B testing, I know I talked about it in one class like that. So A/B testing is having two versions of your product and putting them out to different segment of your market, of your customers, and let them interface with it and get their feedback, or put it out at different time points to see the engagement and from that engagement you can know which one to keep or the other. So this is helpful to help you validate that option. So if you're adding a certain feature and you're not sure of how users would engage it against another one, you can do an A/B testing. Do a version that go to another user and do another one. Then see how people interact with it, and based on your findings, you know the best one to go for or the best one to put. Right, generate new ideas. Sometimes the widest insight comes from unexpected sources. Experimentation is like opening the Pandora box of aha moment. All right, so experimentation is very, very important. All right, experimentation helps you reduce risk. All right, experimentation helps you reduce risk. Helps you reduce risks, such that you're not gambling your entire budget on guesses. You can quickly test the waters before diving head first. All right. Improvement. A/B testing isn't just a picking button color. It's uses the right and define the right product development process. So I'm just telling you how to. A/B testing is one of the most way to experiment your ideas, especially if you have implemented it to your ideation, right? If you have a prototypes, right? So you want to know which one to choose first, which one will the customer work with. So A/B testing is a way to go about that. So user needs, it keeps your product focused on what the user actually wants, not what your CEO wants, right? Culture of innovations, it helps you foster the culture of ideas that are celebrated, tested, and ideated, or what I put, iterated. All right, your idea process so I want you guys to listen to this, right? Your idea process for your target audience should be as diverse as your product lineup. All right, so it means that your ideation process for your target audience should be diverse as well. It helps you expand your you need to expand your creativity to get beyond your go-to techniques. All right, so it means that you need to try out several approaches. Try out brainstorming in week one, try out mind mapping, try out SCAMPER, try out as many approach. It will really help you a lot. Remember, varieties in your ideation process isn't just about keeping things interesting. It's also about consistently generating fresh concepts understanding your market trends, and gathering valuable insight. All right. And don't forget the secret weapon in your arsenal, which is experimentation. As much with all of the ideas you are generating, you have to experiment, quickly test it, experiment it. Let's see which one customers will use, which one customers will not want. All right. Do you understand? It's very, very, very important. It's like having a crystal ball of your ideas, but way more specific. All right. All right. So here are some further ideation methods you think you might want to explore that I didn't put in I didn't highlight. All right. I think the only one that's repeated here is provocation. So we have creative pause, cheat storming, daydreaming, forced relationship, role play, visualization, wishing, sketching, sketch storming, synectics. So these are other ideation techniques that you guys can research and look into as well. All right, the end. Okay, so I'll be open to questions, guys. Any questions? Or this class is very simple or it's very straightforward. Wait, hope you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, good. Awesome. All right, any question from all of the ideas, all of the techniques that we've touched on? Do you think everything was well explained? You get the concepts and everything? Was it straightforward? No questions? Any question?
I have a question, sir.
All right. So after you, I'll take one more question if there's any. All right. Let's have it.
Please, can I go
Your
ahead?
name and the question. Yes,
Okay.
yes, you can. Your name and the question.
All right. Okay, my name is Latifa, and
Okay.
I want to
All right,
ask a question on prototype.
Okay.
Okay, after we develop a prototype, are we testing our prototype with the market in general, or we are setting up a focus group, or I don't know how to go about that. Are we
Okay,
testing
so
with
when you
the
have
whole market, or we just have some set of
for the prototype, right? Your prototype is with most likely with some set of people that align with your target audience, in that market, very specific, right? The audience that you're looking to target, these are people that you bring to test your prototype, not just anybody. People that align to your customer, that you know that this is your customer. Bring them and test your prototype. You might test it across 20 to 50 people to get more cogent feedback. All right. But when you do your testing, it's your MVP that you put into the market for people to start using. All right, not your prototype. Because your prototype most likely doesn't contain code. They are just mock-ups, but they are interactive. They're not functional in the sense, right? But they're just interactive, not functional. You can't, for example, if it's an MVP, you can't transfer money, but you can just interact with it like you're transferring money. Money is not moving because it's not functional, stuff like that. Yeah. So it is your functional version, your minimum functional version, viable version that you put into the market that people interact with, not your prototype. All right. Does that make sense, Latifa? Is she there?
I understand it now. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, good. All right.
Yes, I'm
All right.
here.
All right,
Thank
got it.
you.
You're welcome. So one last question. I will call it a day.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Please, can you hear
Good
me?
evening. Yes, I can. Your
Yes.
name and your question.
My name is Emily Harry. My question is not about this class, but of the assignment you gave to us. So I want to know, how are we supposed to make the submission? I don't think I got that in the last class.
Okay. I saw the class where put like a breakdown for it now. Are you on the group? So it's straightforward, right? Wherever you are putting your document, you're writing the assignment, whether it's on Google Sheet, on Google Doc, or any any document that is. So far, you can provide a link, copy it, and provide provide a link to that assignment, and paste the link. That's all.
I should paste a link where on the dashboard.
No, not on the dashboard. Now, when you're submitting, when you want to submit, you request for a link. You post the link. It's the link that I use to see your assignment.
Okay.
Have you been to the platform before?
Yes, I have.
So you see that. Have you tried to submit? Click on submit your. Click on submitting the assignment. You see it.
So
Give
when
you an
I
option
clicked
for a
on
link.
submit, okay, let me see.
Yeah, so do that, and you'll be good. All right. And if you have any questions, reach out to your class rep. Goodness has not out. They will help you out.
All right.
All right. Okay. So thank you so much, guys. So next week, I'm going to drop an assignment today or tomorrow morning, as regards to what we touched on. All right. Thank you so much, guys. I'm glad that this class was pretty clear. I'm not getting so much questions. All right. So please, I would like your feedback on today's class. Was it informative? Was it good? Did you guys learn a lot? And was it clear? All right. So please drop your feedback on the chat. All right. It helps us evaluate how we actually, coming about the teaching to everyone. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.